Hello, are you out there? It's Mark with Redo Over, and we are back to Galactic Civilizations 4. So, if I recall, we're playing the Terrans, and we were doing a couple of things. I noticed when I booted this up this morning, there is the economic relic, and I think we have a construction ship right here, desperately trying to get up to this economic relic. But I also see that the Yor have a constructor right here, so that is questionable. So I know there's a little bit of a constructor rush, and I noticed over here a very nice cultural relic, which would yield increased influence growth. Yeah, we want that as well. So let's jump up to our star bases. We have 3 additional constructors in the queue on 3 of our star bases right now. So those will be coming up. We're going to shoot those all over the place. Obviously, we want this guy. I see... Gosh, is this a constructor? No, that's a flagship. Way over here, we have ourselves an Illyrium and an AMAT that one constructor may be able to get. Obviously, we have another little Illyrium here in the clouds. Quite a few floating around at the perimeters. So a Thulium way over here. And then even down here in this unclaimed spot, it looks like we have an Illyrium, an antimatter. So there's at least 4 or 5 places we can build. But remember, because these are strategic resource points, we are in a race with the Xenos to get to them. So far as I know, you cannot build a starbase in the ZOC, the zone of control of a Xeno species. So that's really, so within our own zone, we're fine. So like these ones here, we can probably get these at our leisure. Fingers crossed, right? But these other ones, yeah, it's a mad dash at this point. So we'll see what happens. A couple other things. One of them was on Kratos 1. If you recall, I think Kratos 4 had a plague outbreak, and we kind of were just goofing around. I was like, let's see what happens. How bad can a plague be? It's extremely bad. Don't do it. It's just would not recommend. So we sent a colony ship off, though, of a plague colonist to Kratos 1 to turn this into a colony. So theoretically, there's 1 pop living there. If their stats transfer over, which I believe they do, like if you send a totalitarian person to a new colony, I believe when you turn that into a core world, you're going to see that pop. Their name, their stats, and their totalitarianism will be there. I don't think that goes away. I think pops are their own like kind of object within the game that travel with all that information. Will plaguedness transfer? So we don't have a ready colony ship, but we want to do that experience. So actually at the Kratos shipyard, let's just check them real quick. We should have a colony ship down here in the queue after one of these more critical constructors. Yeah, let's jump back here. Kratos shipyard 2. Does Kratos have the population to support? Let's see. I'm mousing over. Population 404. So yes, Kratos 2 could give us a colonist. Oh no, we don't need a colonist. We need a leader to promote to core world. Okay, sorry. We don't need a colony ship because actually there's no additional planets. There's no uncolonized planets for us. So scratch that. What we need is a leader to drop in there. So we got a good leader right there. Holy cows. Check this out. Sarasay is sitting at a 10, a 10, and a 12, and an 11. They're actually a really well-balanced leader in general. Their loyalty is decent, and we can afford them. Let's just check these other stats here. Research bonus, diplomatic friend. Interesting. Yeah, let's do it. Let's grab Sarasay, and then we'll jump into governor, and we will promote Kratos 1. And let's find out what happens. There was one other thing we were going to do. I was referring back to the last episode when we wrapped up. I'd mentioned we were going to do constructor rush constructors, get them out there. Do this Kratos 1 experiment, checking for a play colonist, and the hypersilicates that we will need to save for and purchase for our virtual reality network, because we believe that galactic feature will improve the approval of every pop in our empire, in our civilization. not just on the planet the virtual reality is made on, right? It's distributive. It's a shared virtual reality network between all your colonies. Instantaneous, faster light communication. That's what we're talking about. It's going to take some coin, though, because we need the epitheliumus pollen, or whatever it's called, or seeds, one of the little green ones, and we need hypersilicates. So I think we need to buy 3 and 3. So run into roughly 100 coin per. That's looking at like 600 credits approximately to afford it. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Here we go, though. We're deep diving into Kratos 1. And, here is our happy colonist. And he is plagued. Yeah. What does plague do? What does it do? I'm not dead yet. Okay, well, that's fantastic. FYI, I was fiddling around. I was doing some other little short videos this weekend, just messing around with the game. I play the game a lot, even when I'm not recording. So let's just jump over here. With intelligence or your stats, you can click on the number and get the breakdown. So you can see that this guy is self-reliant with a base of 3. So 3 for base, 3 self-reliance. What else we got? But social skills. Okay. There's quite a few things you can get to modify. This will show like building modifications. FYI, if you have a hatchery or something for your fish species, it might give them +2 diligence to everyone on the planet that's a fish person. So you can see modifications like that to these stats. But yeah, I don't see that. Oh, a -3 to growth. That might be. Hold on. -3 to growth is probably from the plague, if I had to guess. I can't get a pop out on that, probably because these are not compounded stats. They're base stats. If I had to think about it, I would say that these aren't comprised of anything else necessarily. So yeah, this guy is really growing slowly, I would guess because of the plague. Okay, it is what it is. But hey, we got a new major colony. Actually, let's take a quick look at the world. It is Earth. Fascinatingly, that looks like the Baja Peninsula there. Why would this planet be vague Earth? Ooh, look at this warped Spain over here. Disgusting. The peninsula of Spain does not look like that. Or is it an isthmus? Peninsula. No, the isthmus would be the narrow connecting part. It's a peninsula. Spain's a peninsula. Portugal, Spain. I think we can all agree. Malta. Let's not get into it, folks. But they live on a peninsula. Can we just all agree? So, sorry to all my Spanish viewers out there. All right. We got a +3 to research isolated biome. We have a silicates. Ooh, I think we do that. I think we could tell. So this is good. Interestingly, that's sitting on top of the forest, which is probably a population boost. Now, I point that out because a lot of times this will happen where you'll have a special trade resource sitting on top of something else. So we can't actually access this, I don't think. So say that's food or population. It doesn't give an adjacency bonus. So if we click on this, you can see that we don't actually get any bonus to housing or agriculture. So whether this pine tree is a food or population, the only way we could get that value, I think, is if we destroyed this improvement. We don't want to do that. The only time you would ever destroy an improvement is if it's a one-off, where it's like, oh, there's some old Betatron Collider runes on the planet. If you dump in 60 production, you'll get the relic in your relic library for a Betatron Collider token. And now that you've developed that, the Betatron Collider runes on the planet still exist. You now need to destroy them. It serves no additional purpose at that point. You would want to clear it away, and now you can use the tile normally. So in this case, that forest is there, but I really think we need the silicates, the hypersilicates, more than not. So let's look at the rest of our cool-ass tile. Well, here, let's just look at hypersilicate. When we build that up, it will require 1 maintenance and tax. It will generate 1/10 of a hypersilicate, and it'll generate +2 research on the planet with adjacency bonuses of +2 research. So it's actually a pretty good tile to have in general. What else, especially sitting next to this research tile, the isolated biome. Yeah, that's not bad. We have a +2 approval on the coastal, another +2 coastal approval, +2 on food at the oasis, and the planetfall. The reported location of the original scouts to set foot on this world, +1 to all adjacencies. And obviously we could fill in these interior lakes with terraforming at some point to really kind of maximize that. So, let's start with our capital world, our core capital. Here we go. Geez, what do we do, folks? Actually, real quick, planetfall is not an adjacency. It's +1 to anything you put there. Correcting myself. It's not an adjacency bonus. So it doesn't actually benefit everything around it. So be cautious. All right, gosh, I don't know here, folks. I almost feel like this isn't a great spot for this because our core world capital will give us a +1 adjacency bonus to everything. So probably this is the best spot to drop that. We can fill in this lake, and then we can get that +1 adjacency bonus to everything around. Well, you get it. Okay, what do we want next? So that would give us some nice +1 to food, a lot of maintenance. Each core world capital does actually cost you a lot. Just +5 maintenance for every one of them. So we plop down capital after capital. Theoretically, you could pull that capital building out of there for the core world and not build it. But you're going to lose out on the food, the manufacturing, the pop cap, with the adjacency, the level bonuses to gross income, and additional pop cap. So you can imagine if we didn't have this dropped in right now, our pop cap for this world, we would lose the 1 for the base effect, and we'd lose the 1 for the level. So it would drop our pop cap to 3. So kind of, is it worth it? Geez, I almost don't know. I guess the +1 in manufacturing is kind of nice. It gives you crime. That's not good. That's fascinating. I've never thought about this. I think your civilization capital building is well worth it. But looking at this right now, your core world capital building for 1 manufacturing and 1 food and 1 pop cap that you don't necessarily need to start, because you're always going to be able to grow your core world new. It's going to have a pop cap of 2 or 3 or 4, somewhere in that range, I would guess. So we don't need it right now. We don't. God, the 5 maintenance is such a hit. I just never really looked at it before. Let's just take a moment. Let's jump out of Kratos. Let's go over to Earth real quick. Because I think as we all start playing the game, we are so fascinated with this capital city structure. And we're like, whoa, it's so good. And it is good. But core world capitals are not capital city buildings. Check this out. 10% tourism, pop cap +6, sensor range +3, control +1, influence +100, gross income +1, culture per month +1, with level bonuses, +2 adjacency to all, and it has no maintenance cost. That's cool, but it sure as heck ain't no core capital. Okay. Well, listen. We can take it. We can afford the cost. We actually have a pretty good amount of monthly income. But looking at this right now, I would say that it's super questionable. I'm going to leave it down. You could tear up your capital building and redo it here, FYI. So if I destroy this, it just pops it back up. So I can put this down at any time I want. And you can see here that, what does it do? It dropped our pop cap back down to 3. So you can see we have plenty of room to grow. Yeah, I dare say the core world capital is not appropriate yet. I dare say that. When we reach pop cap, we'll want it, but we're not there yet. Or even when we get closer to pop cap, but let's see, we're 7 months out from us growing to the next pop. What will happen is he will get dissatisfied because the world will become too crowded. So we're thinking about. So what else would we build then if we're not going to build that thing? I would like something that would give us just a straight +1 manufacturing without the massive hit to taxes. What do we got? See, these are percentages. You notice the industrial center there is a 12% bonus, but there's no manufacturing to start with. So really, the planetary generator, 1 maintenance, 1 manufacturing. That's a much better flat out value for what we want. Let's grab it and drop it. Yeah, right here. Sure. We'll drop it in. 10 turns out. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit to get that built. Anything else that would look really good for us right off the bat? Coordination beacon. That's a civilization achievement. We need to get that built actually to pop up. That gives us +1 to control. We do want to get those critical buildings built rapidly. Let's just start with that though, folks. By the time that's done, we can maybe then drop in the Capitol building. That'll give us 1 more production. And at that point, we'll need the pop cap to be higher than our current population. And let's get that shipyard in there as well. There you go. A couple things for them to work on. Then we'll drop in that capital. And then we'll look at developing other aspects of this world. Again, though, I can see that approval is really hitting into us. That plague, it's not helping. It's not helping. We have 1 Arno Halo. That's to beef up the hit points of a fleet. Not going to worry about that just yet. We'll hold on to that in case we can do a fight. So that left us where? Nowhere, really. Oh, wait. I want to jump back into Kratos. And I want to make this improvement, get it in the queue. Even if we bump other stuff ahead of the silicate extractor, I just don't want that to sit for 3 or 4 years of game time and just not think about it. So it's in there. We can move stuff ahead of it if needed. Okay. So that being said, let's advance the turn. Okay. We've got a ship created here. What do we pop out? This is one of our constructors. Awesome. I'm going to send this immediately on a mad dash for this cultural relic. And if that gets taken up before we get there, we could always send it to the Celestial North, or we could pull her back. Oh, shit. The Yor just grabbed the AMAT and the Illyrium down here. Well, that sucks. They must have a starbase right in the middle that we're not seeing. So yeah, you're definitely in direct competition with us for these resources. That really sucks. I was just thinking I could have built a starbase down here to make that part of our zone of control, but had I had the starbase, we would have just beaten them to those resources. So they got into a small gap within our zone of control, and it's costing us, is what it is. However, some new resources have popped up. This is the Epimetheus. How do you say? Epimetheus pollen. Okay, and no hypersilicates yet. So we do want the Epimetheus pollen because if we jump back to Earth, we take a look at our virtual world. It will take 3 of the pollen. So let's get those purchased quick as possible. I don't have access to printing money right now because I don't have enough control. And what could we sell potentially? We have a little bit of Illyrium. Gosh, if we sell this off, it's expensive. Yeah, let's go for it here, folks. Let's just drop down on all these. There we go. That should get us there. Buy, buy, buy. We've got the 3. We'll just sit on top of them. We don't need to do more with that for now. So that's perfect. We're halfway there to getting that virtual world built up. Shipyard idle. Gosh. We have 2 constructors in flight, 2 more in the queue right now. That's probably going to get us about where we need because, again, over the course of our constructors being produced and getting them on site, the remainder of the resources within our sector of the galaxy are probably going to get used up. So I don't know that we need more constructors. Possibly a starship right now. I see we've got some modules up here for our star bases, so I don't think we need to make a rush on modules. I could see asteroid miners potentially. Let's take a quick look undeveloped asteroid spots. These are developed, so that's kind of a weak pocket right there. Doesn't look that appealing. I'm zooming down. That's developed. These smaller pockets are developed. And then jumping over here, wow, we really don't have a whole lot of asteroids in our zone of control, period. So we don't need an asteroid miner. That's what that's telling us. I actually want to jump in, make sure we aren't... See, we do have an asteroid miner. We have one going. That's fine. I just want to make sure. Yeah. This too many of these. I don't know why I loaded up that many, but we definitely don't need more than the one. I only see a single asteroid place to develop at this point. So I'm glad I caught that. Let's cycle back around though to our empty queue. Let's go with the supply ship. Functionally, supply ship is just extra production. No reason not to do it. And if we click on it, just trying to see, how do you know what the cost of building one of these things is? Anyone know? I see the 2 here. Here we go. We mouse over. It's 65. So for 65 production, we get 100 production, but it's called manufacturing points. Check this out. Let's really dig into this real quick. This ship has a construction cost of 65 what? Hammers. So it will yield 100 manufacturing points. So you're getting more for it. Now, to be fair, you do have to oftentimes take a little extra time to transport the material. So there's that shipping cost essentially, but it can be as little as 1 turn if you send the supply ship straight to the nearest core world. So that's minimal. But is manufacturing point the same as hammers? It's not minerals. That's what I'm trying to just verify, that we're not talking about minerals. So let's jump into Earth real quick. And you can see that mineral inputs are not manufacturing. So yeah, it's straight up manufacturing. Does it get modified by approval though? Right? Think about this. Right now, let's switch to one of our colonies with less approval. Right here, 49%. You could see clearly that our manufacturing is sitting at 7.13. Manufacturing, which is what a supply ship provides. It said literally 100 manufacturing. Here's the deal. Is it adulterated by the detriment of approval? Because all of our 7.13 manufacturing is getting multiplied by 0.491, because we're losing half of it to low approval, because our ultimate output is actually 3.5, not 7.1. So if I take 100 manufacturing on supply ship, feed it into Kratos 1, will that 49% approval eat 51% of it? Question. Or do they get to just take the 100 and dump it straight in to the planetary generator here? Question. I don't know. Maybe we could do an experiment. We'd have to pay close attention, but let's do it. That's kind of what the whole point of this in-depth tutorial is to get in depth. We should know. We should know how that works. Okay. That being said, supply ships in the route. Once it's built, we'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay. Event. This situation report. Year 5. It has been nearly 5 years since we left our star system to explore the galaxy. We are no longer vulnerable to a planet-wide extinction event, and we have brought life, our life, to new worlds. A celebration is held on each of our worlds. It is a time for our people to reflect on the progress we made to get to this point. Stories are told of the dreams of thousands of years of our ancestors being realized by our generation, and we are excited to see what the next year brings. Everyone enjoy the festivities. Plus 10 culture points and plus 20 approval to all units for 10 months. That is awesome. That's a big bonus to approval. That's really going to help us develop all the more quickly. As a for example, let's just jump back into Kratos 1, which had our 49%. They're still at 49%. Why? What the hell? We'll give it a turn and see if that'll adjust, but theoretically that should pop up to 69. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let's go. Let's give it a turn. So we know we've gone through a turn, so now that approval bonus should show. We've completed research on orbital mining. Having mastered the basics of manufacturing in alien environments, we can now increase the capacity. So we can unlock satellite improvements. Yeah, orbital improvements, that is. For all these extractors. Thulium, Promethium, Silicate, Harmony Crystal, Illyrium, Heliosanthium, and upgrade manufacturing in general. Increases the manufacturing of districts on worlds. Very nice. And forced overtime policy. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Oh, I don't know that it actually increases the output from our asteroid minings. This is orbital mining, not asteroid mining. I say that because it looks like asteroid mining here, but it's not what's going on. So choose a new tech. All right. What do we want here, folks? More orbital manufacturing could get us to Starport, which is actually a pretty solid product, is what people have been telling me. It's a really good building. The Starport takes 1 Durantium, limited amount of construction costs. It's colony unique, so each colony can have one. It's a military-style building. It takes 1 maintenance, so it's not inconsiderable, but it gives a plus 5% to military, plus 2% to pollution, and plus 1 move to any ships that are made out of that shipyard associated with that core world. Then a bonus per level of a lot of additional military for level bonus of 8%. That's chunky. With an additional 2% pollution. So you'll have to have a way to mitigate that pollution, but you can get a lot of military. And the subtle difference between militaries, I think we've talked about a few times. By the way, that also yields a very nice adjacency bonus to military, wealth, and manufacturing. So, it's pretty useful. You want to pack that in around like your supply depot and your other useful manufacturing buildings. But remember, folks, military is essentially a reflection of the manufacturing on the planet that gets sent up to the star dock up in space, the shipyard in space. I believe military is functionally a 1-to-1 ratio with manufacturing on the planet. Yes, when you make a core world, and then these are bonuses on top of it. So if you got your military to plus 50%, if your manufacturing on a world was, say, 100, you would be able to actually build at the shipyard at a rate of 150 production. So it behaves very similarly, but it is subtly different. I haven't ever gotten into it too much. I'm curious if there's a way to do a military build where you really go after military magnification so that you can get that many more ships of war done, or just ships in general. I mean, obviously a lot of ships you build to develop your star empire are not warships, but it applies to everything. Even if it's not a military ship, which is constructors, supply ships, all those benefit from a higher military. Okay, so what do we want here? Capacity. What is capacity? Is that for movement on your ships? Allows a more effective starship construction? That is space capacity. More modules can be fit onto a ship's hull design, I think. I haven't gotten into ship design yet. Someday. All right. Yeah, let's take that orbital manufacturing for now. I think that looks fine because we want that starport. We'll hit done. And we wanted to go back into Kratos because I wanted to see, no, my approval is not getting affected by this festival. I don't understand why that is. I would expect Stardock, if you're watching, probably not. Up here, you should have the little icons that show the special things affecting a given world. So as we cycle through, we should see these like terrestrial civilization capital. We should see that for every building or for every world. So right now, they should have this party, this 5-year celebration for the next 10 months. It should show up. So you're really just masking it. I'm not gaining approval. Am I here? Let's mouse over approval. Population boom, minister, governor, supply depot, human. The planet's nice. Yeah, there's no celebration going on. It's broken. This is one. Let's go to Earth. Yeah, Earth. Do we have a party on Earth? No. Let's just check one of our people here. One of their approvals. Governor's loyal. No. No, there's no party going on. Okay. So that event didn't take. That's a glitch. I don't know another way to say it. Unless I just misread that. If anyone thinks that event was meant to modify something else by plus 20%, but I thought it said approval for all units. It uses the word units, which is odd. What is a unit? Is a unit a population? I have population with approval. I have with leaders with loyalty, but loyalty is not approval, even though you could consider them a unit. Is it a ship? Is a ship a unit? I mean, in my mind, a ship would be a unit. So if I come over here, I have the independence, but the independence doesn't seem to have loyalty. I click, I see no loyalty. So, yeah, it's an event that just didn't happen. It's weird. It's weird. Okay, let's keep going. Idle ship up here. Here's our flagship, the Discovery, discovering stuff. And yeah, we'll keep sussing out these artifacts quick as we can. Oh, we had to go around that nebula cloud there. Next turn. I see our constructor is closing in. It's right here, closing in on this economic relic. We haven't lost her yet. And this guy's shooting across this way quite quickly. What else do we got? Ship idle. Awesome. Here's the Independence, being super independent out there in the void. Not a whole lot of things left to discover. I guess we could just shoot up here and grab the other one of these real quick. Try and beat the Taurians to them. We've more or less hoovered up every anomaly in the galaxy at this point. Ship idle. Yeah, here is our victory. Being victorious, as we like to say. There's nothing left here, folks. Nothing left. I'm going to send her... no. I'm going to send her back into... Actually, I'm going to have her hover right here just to keep eyes on these relics. She can't really protect them. I'm not going to go to war over it, but I just want to see what's happening to them. And I'll probably do the same with the Explorer. Have it hover over here just for a couple of turns. But otherwise, those flagships aren't really needed anywhere. This is not really a war we want to fight right now. Got the cutter popped up. Ship idle. Where's the cutter, folks? Right here? Oh, we just finished the cutter. Fantastic. This, just a little bit of... Oh, no. This is a constructor. Sorry, I'm a little confused. That's there. This is here. Here's the cutter. Okay. So I would say we want to put a warship into each of our core worlds simply for approval rating. So I can see Alula is defended with the green shield. Earth has a green shield. Kratos 4, Kratos 2, Kratos 1. The cutter's going to go to Kratos 1 and help defend that planet. That'll help with morale a bit. Another supply ship just completed. All right, this is cool. We can do our experiment on supplies right now. So we know that this ship, it's highlighted right there, says delivers 100 manufacturing to the target world. Cool. All right, so let's look at our planets. We have Kimberly's Refuge in 9, Khazar's Mainframe in 6, Planetary Generator in 7, Housing District in 6, Beacon of Babylon in 32. That's perfect because it's physically right here. And we can see exactly what's going on with it. So let's jump into Kratos 4. Here's the beacon. What are our numbers here? We've got 800. I'm just going to jot this down real quick. Beacon of Babylon is one of the really expensive ones. So it's an 800 total construction cost. I believe that means 800 manufacturing. Question. This is not telling me how far into the process it is. Let's mouse down here. And I see the sliver. You can see this very narrow sliver right here. That shows the production. It's less than 1/10 of the entire width of this square tile. So I would say production is less than 80 right now. This is inexact. I don't really appreciate that. Let's do it this way. We have 32 turns left. 32 turns left right here. At a manufacturing output, again, this is after approval of, we're going to say just 24. So 24 times 32. Do some quick listening to me do math. So exciting, guys. So thank you for hanging with me here. And I'm sure some of you are doing this in your head right now, and you're like, "Doy, it's pi to the square root of the inverse of an irrational number," and you're like, "Screw you, Mark." That's why I don't like you guys. Okay, here we go. I think we're coming to 768. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. That means we've done 32 production already. Okay. No, we'll recalculate. We're going to dump in the supply ship, and then we'll recalculate. That's how we do it. Okay, so, and also that was a bit fractional, so it's probably a little less than that, but yeah. Fuck. Let's be accurate. I'm not going to get rid of the fraction, because I really want to make sure we have this down here. So I'm again going to take 32 into 23.6. So sorry. So sorry, folks. I'm going to do this one more time. This is so boring. I get it. 7. Oh, crud. I wrote so sloppy. Just bear this. That's an 8. 5. Carry the 1. Holy shit. Oh, just hang there. You guys can click. You can go watch another video. It's fine. And I could bust out a calculator on my phone, but I'm just gonna do this. I can do it. Holy shit. 7. Boom. 2, 5, 5, 7. Whoa. Is that for real? Yeah, I guess that is. So I this is why it matters. I dropped 0.4 off of that number. I just rounded it to 24 manufacturing, but in the end, it does make a significant difference. It's over. It's like 7 production difference, but ultimately, we are setting at 755.2 production has been done, or needs to be done. 755.2 production needs to be done. Okay? Now, because like, why be an exact if we're doing an experiment? Here's the supply ship. Drop it in. Okay. Jump back into Kratos 4. We are now down to 28. And that sounds about right. We're going to take 23.6 times 28. I know it's all correct. I'm sure you guys know it is too. Just quick math in your head. 2, 18, 0, 2, 1, 7, 4, 6, 6. Yeah, so we went from 755.2 to now we're at 660.8. You subtract the 2 and it's at 95. Bear in mind, this turn number can have rounding errors because it's showing it. We're kind of extrapolating by taking a whole turn. So it might have been fractional, like there might have been waste or surplus production on a given turn. Out of the 23.6 we're producing, we might have had some loss. But yeah, functionally, I'm getting that 95 manufacturing went in. 755 minus 660 is 95. So that answers the question. I know that was boring watching me do math. I appreciate you guys sitting with me, but that answers our question unequivocally. Your supply ship, when it delivers 100 manufacturing, you get all of it. You do not lose any to approval loss. In this case, we would have lost 19. We would have lost 19%, 1/5, 20% loss. We didn't. We didn't. I think that the 5 manufacturing difference was simply losses in the number of 32 versus the number of 28. If I had to guess, yeah, not 20. We would have seen the 20 if this, we would have seen like 18 or 19 loss if this 81% multiplied in had affected it. So approval doesn't affect supply ships. Ooh. This is probably the most boring thing you can watch on YouTube, but that's what we're doing. Okay, by the way, I want to improve our manufacturing upgrade over here. I want to pop that on just because we actually do have quite a few manufacturing districts developed, 5 of them. So, yeah. I wonder if I should move that in the queue ahead of the Beacon of Babylon. Would it get us done faster? It would give a +1 level to 5 of these. So 5 at 2%. Now it'd be a 10% boost. It's not worth it. We'd be able to build the beacon 10% faster, 1/10 faster, if this was ahead, but we'd lose 7 turns relative to 28. That's a 25% difference. So we wouldn't gain. We wouldn't gain. But we'll leave it sitting right there for now. And does our shipyard, it is idle. Let's have Kratos 4 keep working on supply ships to help speed the beacon, because I really do want the beacon done quite desperately. Let's just shoot out 3 of those rapid succession, because we actually have quite a few galactic achievements in the pipeline. Kimberly's Refuge, Khazar's, and the beacon. So we need all those hustled along as quick as we can. Shipyard idle. All right, we don't need a colony ship. We think we have enough constructors. We don't need more asteroid miners. I would say realistically we should turn an eye towards military defense. We don't have an overabundance of warships. Now, granted, we can't make really good warships, but I would take a handful of these frigates over nothing. So yeah, let's throw a cutter in. Let's throw 2 cutters in. Yeah, what the hell. So we have a little bit of everything we need. We've got some modules. We've got some construction ships. We got what we need. Okay, this was the tiny asteroid miner. And again, we think we've identified the final asteroid pocket we had to develop was right over here. We'll send it on its way. And then that's going to kind of be it for asteroids for the time being. We have a couple of options available under executive order. We can invite leaders. We can pressure scientists, although we don't need to on this one. That's a question. So say I pressure scientists, I get the 50 research. It dumps over on this orbital manufacturing. How far along? This took 114. I just have to eyeball that. That looks like it's about 1/7. Not easy numbers to mess with. I'd say we have about 15, 20 points left to finish this off. You guys want to do the experiment? I can tell from this gap right here that that's less than 50 research. Based off of the 114 research it will take to complete that this bar represents, that is definitely less than 50. 50 would be from about here over. So let's dump in the 50 research and see if the surplus spills into the next research. Yeah, or if it's wasted. These are things we want to know, right? Technically, you want to know this. So let's burn it for science sakes. That's why we're doing it. Literally for scientific research sake. But yeah, here we go. Boom. Okay. The 50 went in immediately. We think we lost around 15 to 20 of those points earning the orbital manufacturing research. Let's see if 30 research pops out on the other side. Okay. Here's orbital manufacturing. Moving our manufacturing operations to microgravity environments will eventually allow for the construction of massive structures in space. We're not there yet, but this first step was always going to be the biggest. Hell yeah, we got a starport, baby. Yeah, it's literally just saying... This is the weird thing about the military nomer name, is that it's not just military. It's orbital manufacturing. Is what it is. Because they're literally saying, yeah, this is just you being able to manufacture in space or move supplies from a terrestrial body to orbit for manufacturing. And also we're building asteroid miners, constructor ships, colony ships, supply ships. They're not military vessels. Why is it called military? It's orbital manufacturing. Or orbifacturing, is I think we could all agree is the new term for it. We just coined here. Orbifacturing. Orbifacturing. It's manufacturing. So we at the T, manufact. Or bacturing. Or bacturing. Orbital manufacturing, where the T's overlap. Or bacturing. That's a new word we just invented today. I don't think anyone's ever said that word ever in the whole world. Because that's a really rough word. That's a stupid sounding word. Or bacturing. It's our word. Stardock. You can have that one for free. Alright. We got the starport. That's cool. What else do we want? Asteroid factories? Yes. So, unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of asteroid development, but we've developed all of them. I like the asteroid factory because if you look right here, not only can you get the mining barrack module add-on, so boost yields of attached resources. Yeah, that's coming off of a starbase. You can get a 0.10, but also raw production from your trying to mouse onto this. Here we go. Raw production. Yeah. Of your asteroids. So right now we're sitting at probably 0.1 or 0.15. This will boost us up. So let's select that 4 turns out. And here we go. Right there. Look at that. We've already advanced even though we just selected it. So it does in fact spill over. This is sitting at 194. So we can essentially say that each quarter of this progress bar is 50, it's 49. And I can see that if that's half, right there, I'm looking at the left side of the mouse cursor. This is about 1/4, right between the T and the E. So yeah, that looks like around 30 to 35 production from our Boost Science. What the hell is the term for it? Executive order. It does spill over. You don't waste it. All right, we tested it. We proved it. That's very cool. And then let's just take a quick look here at our mines. Our asteroid fields are producing 0.15. Once we finish that asteroid factory, it's going to go to 0.35. More than 100% increase to those asteroids. And I will point out one more time to folks, I know we mentioned this in one previous episode, asteroids don't just give you mineral input. They are going to give you mineral research and wealth inputs. They're super valuable, folks. Super valuable. If we jump over and look at Earth, you can see Earth has a bunch of stuff coming in here. We jump in, and does it show what's coming in from... Now let's check our inputs. Yeah, right here. Mined asteroids are coming in at a 0.89, so almost a whole, but that'll go well up over 1. But check this out. If we go to technology, mined asteroids, wealth input, mined asteroids. There you go, folks. So pretty good get on that. I really like... I love mining in general. It's my dwarven nature. So when I was a kid, my dad used to take me prospecting for gold in California, in Northern California. This is back in like the 80s before it was outlawed. It was probably outlawed for pretty decent reason because of damage and environmental and cultural sensitivity for a lot of native lands and stuff in Northern California, First People lands. But man, I loved doing it as a kid. It was a great time to bond with the father. I'll tell you what, the best memories I have of my father, honestly, is just prospecting for gold with a pan and a dredge. Fuck, that was awesome. I think you could still prospect with a pan. I think you're not supposed to run dredges, and that's what we used to do. Gasoline-powered dredge floating out there on pontoons on a otherwise pristine river. Issue is you got 100 guys up and down a stretch of the river that's easily accessible for swimmers and other people who want to fish and enjoy the river. Those dredges are putting a massive amount of silt And so instead of nice, clean, crystal clear water, it's got tons of sediment and silt in it. It's not toxic per se, but it just probably lowers the beauty and enjoyment for everyone else that's on that river who's not there to prospect. So although it's a sad, poignant thing to lose as a really cool, manly activity to do, like, like men have been doing for thousands of years, prospecting for minerals and rivers, but it does ruin the beauty of that river for probably all the way to the sea. Those silts and sediments all of us were kicking up at those dredges probably didn't settle out of the water until it hit the ocean. So we were affecting, theoretically, thousands of people who would be trying to enjoy the river otherwise. So there's a real question about impacts of it. But yeah, you're not supposed to run dredges on a lot of the rivers anymore for that very reason. So there you go. But I think you could still pan. I think that's still okay to do in most places. Here we are. Advancing the turn. Anomalies already being surveyed. Son of a beep. Okay, that's going to be up here, folks. Which one? Who got hit? The Independence is still moving. The Discovery is idling because that is being surveyed by a Xeno scum right now. Beat us to it. Okay, is what it is. Tell you what we're going to need to do. I'm going to send this ship over here just to keep an eye on this for the time being, just because I'm curious. And we're going to have to come up with a technology that will reveal more anomalies shortly so we can keep our flagships working. Our flagships are almost useless if they're not surveying anomalies. So that will be the next technology we try and procure. We have an event going. Let's hope this event works. This is awesome. Look at this. This looks like this, almost like a surface of Titan, right? Where there's ices that melt and that the ground is an ice. Like, imagine these are hydrocarbons and whatnot, and this is water ice. In the ground, it just reminds me of that, because that is kind of what the ice would do. You would have pockets where pressure differentials and whatnot and soot and dark colored buildups would cause these cavities to be melted into ice on a world where the ground isn't stone, but it's frozen water. So, yeah. Or ammonia ice? Ammonia would freeze if it got cold enough, right? I could see that. You probably would have a lot more water ice than ammonia in a world. But yeah, then this could be like a hydrocarbon lake here. And although that looks like that could be types of algae or whatnot, they probably would be carbon-based, but it would be a very slow metabolism on a world that is existing at like negative 170 degrees centigrade or something. It's kind of cool to think about. All right, we've discovered the remnants of one of our first space vessels, evidence of a time when we stepped nervously beyond Alula Borealis 3. This is a report off of Alula. What should we do with this piece of history? Interesting. This kind of popped out of nowhere, right? Put it in a museum, so this would increase traditionalism and give us a +5 research to all worlds. That's huge. There's no value in nostalgia, scrap it. So increases nihilism, gives us 200 treasury. No, that's way too little money for a permanent +5 research to all worlds forever, right? That's what it implies. Or put it back into service, a free probe. Boo. Okay, yeah, let's go into the museum. I'm curious now. Let's take a deep dive, folks. Let's go to Earth. And let's go to research. I'm looking for a +5. Right, that said a +5 research to all worlds. God dang it. I'm not seeing it. Definitely not seeing it. Eye of the Universe, Research District. I'm not sure what would come up as. I would think almost the Spectre's Grasp, but I think that was already there. Let's jump over to Alula, Borealis 3. I'm looking. I'm not seeing it here. What's going on with these events? Right, folks? This should latch in. Or if it's temporary, permanent. Let's see. Let's go to technology. It didn't say technology. It did say research. It's not there. Gosh darn it. Stardock. Guys. uh, I'm not. I don't need to be pissy. I realize it's a lot of interconnecting like objects that exist in the game world. All these pieces fit together. It's understandable stuff falls through the cracks. And when you're doing your troubleshooting, is there a report log? Is anyone who's watching who is enjoying the game, have you found a way to report bugs back to Stardock? Because the game is being maintained up to this point. I don't know that it's a huge crew, but I think there are some people working on. I see reports come through all the time, developer reports. But this is an error. We have evidence now of 2 events that aren't being logged anywhere. And they could be. Like, very easily that could be like a Lula Borealis museum or museum piece, and it would register as a plus 5% in the research drop down for all your worlds. And certainly the 5-year festival, that was a total bust. Not only did it not show anywhere, but we've looked at the approval. We didn't get a 20% approval on all of our colonies, or any colony. So, okay. In the comments, if you guys know how to report errors and bugs to Stardock. Yeah. You have to imagine, folks, in their defense, the game's been out in development for a couple years. Pretty much done. The player base on this is not massive. You know, there are other games that have tens of thousands of monthly players on Steam. This isn't one of them. I think we're hundreds, several hundred. I think we could grow it. I mean, obviously, me making videos like this probably doesn't hurt. I think we've gotten some people to join the game with us. And I freaking love the game. I think it's a great game. But you make some little change. You make a patch. You make an update. And you break something that used to link in. And now it doesn't. There aren't a dozen paid playtesters checking what happens on this game from week to week. There just aren't. Sorry, folks. No one can pay that salary. So in a sense, we are the playtesters. We're unpaid. I don't get paid. I'm not affiliated with Stardock. But if there's a game like this where we're saying, you know what, this is a little thing, while they're maintaining the game, while there's even one guy working, we could alert that developer, hey, look at this odd error. I found this. And by us telling them, we're even if there's just hundreds of us, that's a lot of us. We can get those bugs in. And I think it's realistic. It's not like we're saying, hey, we want you to add this feature. And the guy's like, dude, I don't have 1,000 hours, guys, to add that feature. Sorry. But we're saying, no. This event already exists. It's just the event chain's broken. Just somehow this isn't being applied. It literally is probably a line or two of code that the developer has to hunt down, the guy who's maintaining this game for them, make the change, run it, simulate the test, the event, and oh, yep, there it is. It's working again. So it's probably just a day or two's work for this guy to read one of these bug reports that could come from us and get this in the next patch. I'd like to see that because I got 2 broken events right now. Let's advance the turn, see what happens. All right. So we hit the turn. Now, for certain, we should see this locked in. So I want to do 2 things. I want to jump back to Kratos 1. The approvals moved because we got the warship, but we never got that 20% approval from that festival, the 5-year festival. And we're going to jump back over to Earth here. We just looked at research. And I'm looking one more time for that 5% to have kicked in. And it has not. So we didn't get it. We didn't get it. Unless it was a one-time plus 5% research on all worlds once. Okay. God, that's so little. Even in advance, like here, this is our biggest planet. Earth only produces 30 research. If you gave us a 5% bonus for one round, that on Earth would be 1.5 research. That's nothing. That's not a bonus at all. And our other handful of core worlds produce even less. It's not even 1 research here, not even 1 here, not even 1 here, not even. Okay. Yeah. If it's a 5% one time, that would have netted us all of about 2.5 research based off of my rough calculation, 3 research tops. Otherwise, it's a broken event. Okay. Simple. We have some idle ships. Yeah, she's just sitting there. We don't have anything for her to do. I guess I could just... I'm gonna scoot her off here. Let's see what's going on over here by these resources. Mother Thumper. You stay away, you psychopath. Alright, this is a situation report. Incoming message from the Taurian regime. I'm checking my timer at 1 hour here. Terran Alliance, we see you building up forces outside our doorstep. You should stop it. We'll be watching you. Done. Are we building up forces? I mean, I guess. Are we? It's just a couple ships. We're not in their territory, are we? No, our ships are outside of their Zocs. So, kind of screw them. They're being belligerent. Let's focus on a couple things. We want to scoot this constructor in now and try and grab that economic relic now. We're out of time. Your constructor's right there. Let's do it. Let's focus on that first. Can we get there? Shit. Come on. Fudge. The sensor range on this Your constructor is 4. I believe that means it can see 4 hexes away. That may just be outside of its scan. The Your may not know that's there. Crap. We're literally like 1 move away. I could attack the Your constructor. It's a lot easier to destroy this constructor before it's built. And the Discovery could do it. The Discovery could put that constructor on the ground. Listen, the Your are weak. The Your are really pocketed in here. They have a single core world. Do we just put them out of their misery? We're developed almost twice to what they are. I wonder who's leading on military, though. Hold on, let's take a quick look. We're not... Our relations are roughly in the middle with them. Unfriendly, but we're holding steady. We're not doing too bad. If I mouse over, can I see what their military... We're ranked number 2 in military. Let's go to our databank. We don't mess with this too often. Timeline. Military power. Oh, the Your took a massive doink. Look at this. They had a massive hit to military. Okay, I'm equivocating. But here's the thing. We got a flagship and nothing to do with it. We're not pacifists. Let's hit the Your. You must be at war with civilization to attack them. Do you want to declare war on the Your? Declaring war will move all ships outside their territory before you attack. Let's do it. Yes. First strike. First strike. There's another reason for that. I want these resources. They can't defend them. We go in. We send in some of our flagships. We take that starbase. It's ours. We get those resources. Yeah. The Your are on the ropes here, folks. Look at they're sitting on top of some Durantium. 3 beautiful Durantium. I want that. I want that. I want their Durantium. We're not pacifists. They have a single frigate? Wow. Yeah. Listen, I don't know what the Your did with their fleet. It's possible they ran it into that heavily defended precursor anomaly and vaporized themselves. It's possible they're through the slipstream, the subspace stream here, through the wormhole. But yeah, we're going to take it to the Your. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to send the Discovery towards your space. We are going to... Oh, crap. They got both of these. All right. Yeah. Let's meet the Independence up in short order. We're going to just cut across their space. We're going to train up the Discovery right now. We've got a decent amount of hit points. So let's get them some AMAT warheads, build up their firepower, and they will rendezvous here the Discovery with the Independence, forming a battle group, and we will start to think about taking the fight to the Ore and conquering them. Okay? That will buy our constructor ship time to grab the economic relic. Awesome. And on this side over here, I was noticing a Xeno fleet. Quite dangerous to us, actually. Its offensive firepower sitting at 11. It has 69 hit points. Pretty durable. It's 4 small ships. And this ship here is the Victory, is tiny in comparison. Now, the sensor range on this is 2. So if we can keep the Victory out of their line of sight, we may be able to keep her safe. And I can see the Stargazer is going to link up over here. Let's do that. Let's link. Let's get the Stargazer as far in as we can get her. Stargazer's already moved. Ah, crap. All right. Yeah. I'm going to have these 2 ships join up just because we know there's that Xeno presence, that space creature presence. The 2 of them together will at least be somewhat more defensible, right? Yeah, we're gonna form up some battle groups here quickly. And actually, we have the Explorer here. We're gonna group up as well, and we're gonna improve the Explorer with what? She's quite weak. Let's get her some Illyrium cells for additional firepower. So we're gonna have these 3 ships group up just because of the presence of the Xenoforce there. I can see our constructor. We're going to close in and we're going to develop that right now. Here we go. Cultural Relic, Communication Starbase, build it, and we can do the Xenoarchaeology Lab. Should allow us to utilize the Cultural Relic. You'll notice... Oh, no, we already have her? Okay, that's cool. Your planet's cultural output defines influence. So we're gaining it. Build the Xenoarchaeology module on all nearby star bases to study this precursor. So we do need it. Hold on. Here we go. Build what changes. There we go. That worked. So interestingly, simply by having... So we were getting a 10% influence growth just by having the communication starbase there at all. Unrelated to the relic. I didn't realize that. Okay, so I think I just learned something. Hopefully you guys did too. By building a communication starbase, your planet's cultural output defines... Okay, influence growth. Colonies, though. I thought when you built a communication starbase, it would start generating its own influence every turn, and the influence would start to grow. We would have a base and a growth and a range and all that kind of stuff. I don't understand why this is saying colonies here. This is not in any way assigned with the relic, which is its own thing here, which is giving a 5% bonus to colonies and a 5% to star bases. That makes sense. So down here under installed modules, communication starbase, dedicate starbase to extending your cultural influence and assets. Influence growth 10%, influence growth plus 10. That's like your base, right? And you can see here, we're growing. See, right there, that's the influence of the starbase. So why does it say colonies? I don't... Or is it because I have a colony within range? No. The starbase is here. You can see the starbase's influence range doesn't overlap with the colony. But it could? Oh. I've always used communication starbases to put out at my perimeter to push into Xenozox, zones of control. Push back to the zone of control. But if I'm reading this properly, this station, if it were built, say, next to Alula Borealis, would yield a 10% bonus to Alula Borealis' influence growth. Let's look over this real quickly. I see the cultural relic bonus right there, 5%. That does work across all of our colonies. That at least is not a broken bonus. I do not see a 10% bonus from the starbase over there, which makes sense because the colony does not overlap with the starbase's range. Okay, but this is a note to everyone. If you want to boost a new colony or an old colony, put a communication satellite around it, and you'll get that 10% boost. That seems to be what this is implying. We're just not benefiting from it, but we are benefiting from the relic. Very cool. I'll take it. Super cool. We'll hit done. Where are we at here, folks? Actually, we have a couple more modules. Is there anything else we can build on? Ancient Studies Center. Oh, here we go. So for one module, one Promethean, we can get an additional 1/20th from the relic. And +2 Ascension. Yeah, let's do it. Boom. We have a little bit of Promethean. Yes, we build it. There we go. That kicked that up from a 5% to a 10%. So doubled, 100% improvement. And remember, that's now, that 10% influence growth is across all colonies. Let's jump over to Earth. Just double check. We go into our influence, and sure enough, cultural relic, 10%. Good. That works. That was worth doing. We'll hit done. Bear in mind now, we started a war so we could get this economic relic because it affects all colonies within our empire. This isn't just an Illyrium that we wanted to harvest, and we started a war over that. I started the war because this is valuable to all of our planets. And we're going to go to that 5% economic bonus, and then we're going to upgrade again and get to the 10% pretty much right off the bat. We have 2 modules left to do that with. We're going to have it as soon as this constructor gets within range next turn. It's going to be big bonus to us. We've already got an economic relic down here. Speaking of which, we should boost that right now. Yep. You see the relics at 5%, but we can do the Ancient Studies Center. I'm looking here. We are sitting at 25 plus monthly income. Let's do the Ancient Studies Center. We build it. Just popped us up to 27. We got 2 just from that little improvement across. Yeah, well, obviously this is a macro for our whole civilization. So well worth it. Well worth it. What that does mean though is I'm going to need more modules quickly because obviously we're going to need 2 for this guy. So that being said, let's jump over to our shipyards. The next cutter is going to complete any moment, so let's jump in, and we're going to push a production module between the 2 cutters. Yeah, there you go. So we'll get that pretty shortly. And then also I'm noticing new resources at the Galactic Bazaar. Not hypersilicates, though. We're still looking for hypersilicates for the virtual reality network. Now, we need to be keeping an eye out for your ships that are going to start coming after us, but otherwise, I think we're looking pretty good. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. Asteroid miner is almost in place. Remember, we have defending ships at all of our core worlds. If we need to group them, we can form a small battle group. We really need to see what the Yor are going to come against us with. Hopefully not much. Where are we at? Supply ship. Yeah, let's jump over. I think we should still pursue the Beacon of Babylon. It's 26 turns out. It's by far our slowest to build, so let's keep pumping supply ships into Kratos 4. And we have another one in the queue there. We have an event. The TSA Explorer MO1 survey report, the Diablo cast. There's a Diablo catalyst in the capsule we just discovered. Ship upgrade increases the weapon firing rate of that ship. Yeah, we can bring it on board. Free Diablo cast ship upgrade. We can disassemble it for an Illyrium and antimatter, or we can sell it. We don't need the coin that much. We have other resources like thuliums and promethiums we could sell off if we need those hypersilicates. We are not developing hypersilicate yet because we haven't built that resource on that planet, Kratos 1. It's a little ways to go yet. So I think we're going to take the Diablo Catalyst. In particular, because we're facing war with the Yor, the next good flagship of ours that levels up, we're going to drop the Diablo Catalyst. I believe it's like a plus 25% to firing rate for kinetic, beam, and missile weapons, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not actually a relic you gain. It comes up when you go to the ship improvement and you're choosing between like crew quarters or whatever. It's going to show up there. So we'll utilize it since we're on a war footing at this point. And we have additional idle ship. Yeah, we're going to have her. Well, Victory. We're going to have the Victory jump over and start researching this anomaly, and then we're going to reassign the other ships to join her to form that battle group. Okay, and we're going to advance the turn. Would you like to build a mining? Yeah, that's the final mining cluster. Asteroid factory is just completed. A surprising proportion of the resource collection process is simply dedicated to finding secure footholds on mining platforms in situ, or to situate themselves. In situ, sorry. Fixed semi-permanent factories on the surface of asteroids will ensure resource collection on a whole new scale. Very cool. I guess that means they're just putting the satellite on the surfaces and it's just coring, hollowing out the asteroid. Choose new tech. Now I want warship stuff. Yeah, we're on a war footing. What can we get really quickly here that could help us out? Armor defense theory in 4 turns for an armor rating of plus 10%. It's not bad. Avenger missile system. Plasma beams. Rail guns. These are all new weapons, but I don't know that they're automatically dumped onto our ship. I think the armor defense theory is an immediate bonus. Let's go for that. Or energy deflection technology, shield generators. Go for the armor defensive theory just because I think it may automatically apply. We're not really building a whole lot of new military ships rapidly, so ship is idle. That's the constructor. Let's send her in. We're going to tuck her in real close, and we will develop her. Communication satellite with a xenoarchaeology lab. Build it, and that latches in our economic growth, pushing us up even further. I believe we were 27. We're now at 30 or somewhere in that range. But we do want to get that Ancient Studies Center as soon as we have an additional module. It done. And realistically, that's probably it for today, folks. We're sitting at 1 hour and a quarter. That's a good amount. So, reminders to ourselves. Keep pushing out our constructors. I believe we have even a new one done. Right? No, that's a frigate. That's good. We actually want the frigate. So we're at war with the Yor. So tip number 1, get our battle groups assembled so we can defend ourselves. Take the fight to the Yor. We're going to want to take over the Durantium processes here, as well as strip away the antimatter and the Illyrium resource harvesting down here. So we're going to snatch strategic resources away from them. Potentially we'll build a siege ship. We're going to keep our constructors going and streaming out to grab resources, although we have successfully grabbed a cultural relic and an economic relic with constructors. So if nothing else, we've succeeded at least partially on our constructions. We can jump in here real quick, take a look at our mines. Our asteroid fields are now producing at 0.42. That's cool. How the hell did that happen? I thought we were going to go from 0.15, gain a 0.2, and get it 0.35. But somehow we've gotten to 0.45. Does anyone know how that happened? Seems like we got an extra 0.1 in there somehow. I'll take it. That's cool. Are all of our asteroids that way? Yes. Dude. Oh, that's part of the reason why this jumped up so high. That wasn't just the one at economic relic. Probably got us like 1, but the rest is coming from mining. Well, that's awesome, folks. That means our handful of asteroid mines are giving us a real nice boost to manufacturing, income, research. Okay. We did our experiments today. That was good. So yeah, that's where we're going to leave. We're at war. We're at war, and we're going to keep going with constructors. We talked about the plague thing on Kratos, and we're still building. We're still trying to get the virtual reality network done, but we haven't had access to the hypersilicates yet. Okay, that's it. I know it's a slow go on this, folks, but it is kind of the point of the in-depth. I hope you're learning stuff. I feel like I'm learning stuff as we play the game. Okay, take care.